Hi, I'm Steve, the introverted traveler. I've made it my mission in life to explore the beaches, deserts, mountains, and even cityscapes around us, and to do so while avoiding contact with as many people as possible. And although I will never hang out with you for any reason, I do invite you to join me on my journey. Come and see the world through the eyes of an extreme introvert. On this edition, we take a hike to the top of the world in the Columbia River Gorge of Northern Oregon as we venture to Angel's Rest. Along the way, we will see cool waterfalls, lovely creeks, great views, and, amazingly, a trail chihuahua. And there, standing in front of me, little itty bitty, even smaller than my dog, wrapped in a sweater, a chihuahua. This and much more on this Introverted Travels. Greetings. Once again, we are back on yet another adventure. And today, we're in the great state of Oregon. And of course, as I love doing, we're in the Columbia River Gorge. It is Christmas Eve, 2023, and unfortunately, there's people out here. I'm actually, at the moment, I'm at the trailhead, but I have a whole saga about how I started the trail, had equipment malfunctions, went back to the car, etc., etc., etc. So this is actually my second attempt at this. Imagine that. But in the process of doing all that, I saw people. I saw runners, I saw hikers, I just saw other human beings. And it soured my Merry Christmas. But guess what? That's okay, because the number of cars that are here at the trailhead is actually relatively small. So, we're doing Angel's Rest today. It's about 4.5 miles up, or two and a half miles. It's probably gonna be about round trip 5 miles. All Trails says 4.5 miles, so let's round up, because All Trails sucks. So it's gonna be about 2 and some change up, 2 and some change back. We're gonna see some cool views. It may or may not rain. I'm in Oregon. This is how rain functions here. The weather report will say, hey, it's gonna rain, it's gonna pour, and then the weather will say, eh. So there's been a few drops here and there, but I'm in the Pacific Northwest. What do you expect? So we're gonna go up to the top. We're gonna see views, we're gonna see trees. And the forest is incredibly dark. And the reason I had technical malfunctions is when it gets dark, the GoPro loses stability. So if this is rocky footage, I apologize. I do have a stabilizer, but it sucks and I hate using it, and etc., etc. So I'm already grumpy, I'm already complaining, and I'm already full of technical errors. Sounds like a great recipe for a great video. Let's go. So this first little bit has been, relatively strenuous. This is rated as a hard hike. It's out in the gorge, of course it's a hard hike. But I thought I got so far, I'd been going hard and I thought I was going places until I looked down and saw a parking lot. It's not where I parked. At least I don't think it's where I parked. Hell, maybe that is where I parked. Crap, have I even gone anywhere? Did I walk like 10 feet? I mean, I'm out of breath, but I'm always out of breath, so yeah, it's kind of defeating. I mean, they're further away than they were before, so I'm moving, I hope. Well, it's not the Columbia River Gorge without the weird waterfalls in the middle of the woods. I mean, there's gorgeous waterfalls here too. There's like 200 and something waterfalls in this region. And there's big ones, but then there's these little ones that when you're hiking, you just, all of a sudden there's this waterfall. Just random waterfall. Look, hey, it's water under the influence of gravity in the woods. This one, I'll get a good shot over here, I believe it's called Lower Copley Falls. That means there's an upper somewhere, probably out there somewhere. But yeah, Just a random waterfall. You see them all the time when you're hiking this area. But isn't that beautiful? And look at that. I'm not gonna get any closer. I guess I could technically go down and break a hip for you, but no, I mean, as much as I love the 2 people that make up my audience, I'm not breaking a hip. Not this time. I'm not old enough to break a hip, but no, we'll just look at the waterfall. I think we're close enough. And we'll move on. Let's go. Even in the gloomy haze of Christmas Eve, here in the Pacific Northwest, there's still freaking people out. So, here's part of the story of the trail. I underestimated how hot I would get with 2 layers on. And then look at me, I'm disgusting. I mean, I look like a stereotypical fat guy, but, you know, and I am probably a stereotypical fat guy who can, you know, hike up volcanoes and traverse giant waterfalls and all that stuff. But, no, I'm a sweaty, disgusting mess. And so every shot of me from now on until I dry is gonna be a sloppish, sweaty, I'm just looking at that, that's gross. But that's what you get when you have a waterproof jacket on over a shell jacket. Because for whatever reason, I think Pacific Northwest, and I just see myself like, you know, like Jack Nicholson at the end of The Shining when he's in the maze and he freezes to death in the snow. I had that image in my head, you know, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna, you know, freeze to death in the snow. No, I'm freaking sweating like at the 115 degrees. I feel like I'm in the desert again. But that's okay. I'm gonna keep hiking. I'm gonna keep the toque on because my head is cold. It's bald and shiny and, you know. But yeah, these are the hazards of hiking, folks. Especially being me. I mean, there's a lot of hazards of being me, you know, being grumpy all the time and being too beautiful for all of society. I mean, there's that, but there's also the fact that I just overheat very easily. And even though it's like 40 degrees out here, I'm sweating buckets. It's disgusting, but it is what it is. All right, that awful other hiker, AKA another human being, just disappeared. I don't know if she's awful, but she's a human, so Ah, yes. Now I remember why I come out here. It's freaking gorgeous. This isn't the greatest view because there's a bunch of trees in the way, but you can see the Columbia River. That's that big wet thing right there. Yeah, the thing with the water in it. And way in the distance, I'm assuming there's volcanoes out there. Portland, somewhere in that direction. And of course, Washington, right there. I'm touching Washington. I'm touching Washington. I'm touching Washington. That's kind of cool. I'm like literally looking at another state. Wow. I'm way too close. But yeah, it's beautiful out here. I mean, even the trees. I don't know. To me, there's just something beautiful about this whole area. But that's a beautiful river. We're still headed to the top. There's going to be better views from the top. Hopefully not trees in the way, but yeah, we're going to take a look at some gorgeous views. But right now, while I hyperventilate and sweat out my whole entire body, there's the Columbia River down there. Isn't it pretty? We're going to keep going, folks. If I don't, you know, collapse. Well, my hiker's intuition and the point of interest on the All Trails map tells me that is Angel's Rest. So that's where we're headed. We're gonna go right up there, right somewhere, and I'm gonna be like, hey, I'm in Angel's Rest, ooh, you know, something like that. Again, with a close-up. So yeah, I mean, we've been to things like that before, but it is all of a sudden very windy. So I put my jacket back on. I'm hot and I'm cold and I'm hot and I'm cold. I'm like a bad Katy Perry song. Well, they're all bad songs, but the one where she sang it to Elmo with her boobs hanging out, that song. I'm like that song. But yeah, looks like we're actually almost there. Short but sweet. I like that. All right, I'm still hiking up, but it is a Christmas Eve miracle. I'm getting snow flurries. Of course, the reason I'm getting snow flurries, I'm high. Not that type of high, I'm like high in altitude or elevation, or is there a difference between altitude and elevation? I don't know. I'm sure there is, and I'm sure I sound like a complete idiot, but when do I not sound like a complete idiot? Also, my face is kind of frozen, and I've been hiking, so I'm more mumbly than usual. But yeah, I don't know if the GoPro is going to pick it up, but there are definitely little flurries of snow. Of course, it's really nothing to worry too much about. I knew it was going to rain, but I'm up so high now that, yeah, beautiful. It's going to be a white Christmas. Oh, better than a bloody falling down the mountain Christmas, but yeah, almost there, almost. Well, it wouldn't be a proper Christmas Eve hike here in the Columbia River Gorge without scrambling over a bunch of rocks. That's the trail ahead. I don't think it's going to be a big deal, but I find it funny that so far there's been wind, there's snowflakes falling at my face, or flying at my face, and I think the end of it's like right there. So, oh, again with the close-ups, for heaven's sakes. So yeah, let's do our scrambling and hope for the best. I'm hoping the, skies don't open up and the angels from heaven don't flow down upon us, announcing Armageddon, but it would make a good ending to the video, so hey, whatever works. Well, I'm closer and closer to the ending here and to the beautiful views, and of course I look behind me. My theory is always proven right, folks. The closer you get to the cool thing, even if there's no one out on the trail, they will come. Well, they're here. We're on the last of it. Here we go. Check this out. Oh, this is super cool. I'm gonna talk fast because there's a people behind me. All right. And we have more or less, wow, this is beautiful. Look at all this. Once again, folks, top of the world. Look at the mountains in the distance. The screaming, howling wind reminding us that we're just inches away from a horrible, gnarly death at any given second. I couldn't do this without a little doses of reality. And we made it. Welcome to Angel's Rest. Okay, so apparently there's a bench up here somewhere where you can sit and look out, but a bunch of people just went to it. So I am quickly moving in the opposite direction per the introversion protocol number 57283 of the Introverted Hiking Guide. It's also windy as hell up here. It's cold, and I'm scared of heights. But yeah. freaking awesome, isn't it? Merry Christmas, everyone. Happy holidays. And let's hope we don't slip and die on the way back. Joy to all. Okay, so I was starting this video to tell you about how I didn't quite make it to the very end of the All Trails map because, of course, the burden that is the horrible presence of other people showed up, went to the bench right before I got there, and I just turned around and, you know, where there were really cool views. So I was going to tell you that, but just like 3 minutes ago I saw a trail chihuahua, and that's not a metaphor for anything. I'm up here. I don't know that the altitude, the elevation of this, but it's snowing. The wind is howling. It is very scary up here. There's warning signs at the base of the trail, at the trailhead of falling rocks. It's like utter chaos up here. And I'm walking down the trail, and they're standing in front of me. Little itty bitty, even smaller than my dog, wrapped in a sweater, a chihuahua. And of course, 2 hikers coming up behind it. But Chihuahua didn't seem to mind. Chihuahua seemed, you know, warm and comfortable and happy. Of course, if my dog was up here, he'd be, you know, tearing at my flesh, telling me, you know, you're gonna carry me, I'm scared, let's get the hell out of here. That's why he's at home warming the couch right now, and I'm out here. But yeah, that's the first for me. The very top of a very difficult hike. Well, somewhat difficult hike. Definitely a scary hike because of the wind screaming through the canyon and the snow, and yet we encounter a friendly neighborhood chihuahua. You never know what you're gonna see with hiking, folks. You never frickin' know. So, just a quick update. I'm making my way back. Everything's going well, except the wind is screaming, the snowflakes are getting bigger, and there's a lot of other people. I swear, I was only up at the peak maybe 5 minutes. I was only, well, okay, 10 minutes. Let's do 10 minutes. And I was alone up there for maybe 4. There were people up sitting on the bench, and then I started to come down, and there's people coming up, and dogs, wonderful dogs. I'm okay with dogs, and that trail chihuahua, that was cool. But on my way down here to where I am now, which, you know, I'm like halfway down. I'm not that far down, but yeah, past a bunch more people. It's Christmas Eve, folks. It's freaking snowing. The wind is howling. Of course, I'm in the Columbia River Gorge, which is right next to Portland, so there's a lot of people that come out here, but humanity is never going to stop, is it? It's going to hound me and haunt me. And yeah, okay, so I'm not in a very remote place, but it doesn't matter. I mean, I could go over there to Washington, up there somewhere, and find some forest where, you know, Bigfoot takes a dump, and there will still be a Cub Scout troop like running around making teepees out of twigs or whatever the heck Cub Scouts do. I don't know. I was never one of those. But yeah. Merry Christmas, folks. There's too many damn people in the world. Okay, there's my Christmas rant. I'm making okay time. I'm trying to get out of here because it's cold. I'm grumpy. But it is beautiful out here. Let's always throw that in. Because look at that, I'm on the Columbia River. I'm in the beautiful half-burned forest, but that's pretty typical. I've seen waterfalls. I've seen rock formations. I've seen great views. And I've seen a trail chihuahua. And there's more people coming. And more dogs. Lovely. Let's go. Well, I am rapidly descending here. And we'll be back at my car in probably another half an hour or so. But I figured now, since I'm just meandering through the forest, the beautiful forest, you know, here in Oregon, but meandering through the forest nonetheless, that I would do the trail rating and the misery index. Remember how these trails are rated? It's an introversion scale from 1 to 10. 1 being the worst hellish possible scenario for an introvert, and that's Disneyland on the 4th of July, and the number of people and screaming children and you know, corporate mascots that you'd find there, versus a 10, which represents what you would find in the middle of a field in Antarctica, which is absolutely nothing and absolutely wonderful. Just you and the penguins. Nobody's conversations, nobody's opinions, nobody's stupid politics, nobody's pollution. Just nobody. Just beauty, wonderment, and love. That's introversion heaven, and that's a 10 on the scale. So on that scale, unfortunately, I have to put this trail about a 3. Even though it is snowing, or was snowing at the top, it is windy, it is a gloomy day, and it's Christmas Eve. There's tons of people. They keep coming up, coming down, they're everywhere. So I guess they heard I was here in Oregon again, and I guess they heard that I was actually happy to be here, and I was just happy in general. And when that goes through the grapevine, the extroverts, you know, out there and just people in general have to say, oh, well, we can't have that. We can't have him be happy. Let's all go to Angel's Rest when he's hiking and, you know, shout and talk and steal benches and, But yes, it's about a 3, unfortunately. And, you know, again, I'm here on a holiday week, or weekend actually, because it's Sunday. But I don't know what this would be like on other days. It might be more quiet. It might be quieter early in the morning or later in the afternoon. I don't know, but right now it's a 3. And the misery index, 1 to 5 scale. 1 being a complete pipe dream, which is no misery, which, you know, I never experience. I'm always miserable to some degree. And a 5 being completely, totally miserable. Well, every time I see another person, it spikes up to, like, you know, 5,000. But right now, walking through the forest, seeing the beautiful ferns. Look at those beautiful ferns and the beautiful trees. And I'm right near a waterfall that we passed on the way up, and I can hear it. I'm about a 2.5, you know, miserable to some degree, always miserable, but not as miserable as I could be. So that's our rating for today. I'm just gonna finish this. I'm gonna go take some pictures of the waterfall, and I'm hoping to avoid any more people, but you know that's not gonna happen. So yeah, all in all, not bad. And I'm hearing voices, not that type of voices, like there's a people up there. All right, I really need to do more research before I come out to a hike. I have no idea which waterfall that is. It's one of those that's on the scenic highway here in the Columbia River Gorge. I'm sure I've seen it. It's not Horsetail. It's not Multnomah. It's one of those. I don't know. There's like 1,000 of them out here, for heaven's sakes. But this is the lower falls for that upper falls that I saw a little while ago, and wow, that is a long way down. But yeah, that's probably what all the tourists down the road are staring at. I get a better view. That's really cool. But it's Oregon. But yeah, I have no idea which waterfall. It's one of those waterfalls. And there's a bunch of them. So yeah, I'm almost done. And we are waterfalls. Isn't that cool, folks? It's cool. All right, I have an official sign, or as official as a sign that is literally stapled to a wooden board can be. But the parking lot and trailhead, swinging around, is 0.8 miles, which means I'm almost back to my car, which means it is time for us to say goodbye. But before we do that, let's do a very quick recap. We're here today in beautiful, drizzly, snowy Oregon, northern Oregon, at the Columbia River Gorge. We went up to Angel's Rest, and along the way, we got to see some gorgeous views. We got to see 2 waterfalls, an upper, a lower. Really, I mean, is it 2 waterfalls, or is it just one giant interconnected body of water? Because it's the same body of water, it just, whatever, forget the philosophy. We saw 2 waterfalls. We saw great rock formations. We got to see wind and snowflakes, and got to see, unfortunately, other people. And out of everything, I got to see for the first time ever on this channel, or probably anywhere in history, a trail chihuahua. That was just freaking awesome right there. But as I said, it's time for us to say goodbye. So you know what's coming, folks. Stay introverted. And I'll see you in the next adventure. Okay, I never do this, but I want to give a shout out to Morgan Gold of Goldshaw Farms. Morgan, you don't know me. My name's Steve. I'm the Introverted Traveler. I make kind of a dark, satirical hiking and travel videos that very few people watch, even fewer people understand, and even fewer people actually find funny. But the reason I'm tagging you is because I just got done with this really cool hike to the top of Angel's Rest here in the Columbia River Gorge of northern Oregon. And at the very top it was snowing, it was windy, it was loud, it was very scary, and it was extraordinarily cold. And I just got this Christmas gift from my brother, who's also a fan of your videos. Goldshaw Farms toque. Kept me nice and cozy up there, nice and warm, and a water drip. Freaking Oregon. So I wanted to thank you for your merchandise. I mean, you didn't send it to me, my brother did, but it's your brand, and I appreciate it, and I appreciate your videos. So for those of you who don't know who Morgan is and don't know Goldshaw Farms, I'll put a link or a tag or whatever, but go check him out on YouTube. It's pretty entertaining, pretty cool, and I like his toque.